Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to the soup factory in Farming Simulator 25. This is going to cover all platforms, so whether you're on PlayStation, Xbox, or PC and Mac, this will work for you. I am on PC, however, so up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see the controls are going to be PC controls. However, you can go into the menu, go down here to Settings, General Settings, make sure you turn on your help window if you're playing on console or something else, or with a controller, and you'll be able to see those settings correctly up there in the controls. I also do tend to talk a little bit fast, so if you need to slow me down, use the controls down below in the YouTube slider bar to be able to control how fast the video goes, so that way you can slow me down a bit. Also, make sure you guys check out the first pinned comment in case there's anything that's changed or is different. I'll put it in that comment. And there are time codes down below if you wanted to skip ahead to something specific. So if you don't need the whole tutorial guide, you can skip ahead to something specific using those time codes down below. And what we are going to cover is placing and buying the soup factory, production inputs for the soup factory, using the soup factory, the products that the soup factory creates, how to move pallets, and then the profitability of the soup factory. So first off, placing and buying. It's pretty straightforward. I have one placed down here. Now, there's not one on, we're on Hutan Pantai. There's not one actually on this map here, but I'm going to show you how to purchase something. It's be the same thing. If I go over to like just the bakery here, this guy again, this is the bakery, not the soup factory. There's not one on Hutan Pantai. There is one on Sri and there might be ones in other maps in the future. But if there's one placed down on a map, just like any other production, if you want to buy it, just click on it, hit visit like I did. Go up to this little wrench icon, and then you're going to hit R on PC, and then we're going to buy the building, and then now you own it. Now, if you want to sell it off, you can go into the build menu, click on the building, and you can sell it off just like that. And then if you ever decide that you want to buy it back again, you can come up to it again and buy it that way, which is great. Now, the other thing about that as well, just be aware you're obviously going to take a loss if you buy it and then sell it back, so just be aware of that. Now, the second thing you can do is obviously place one down. If we go into our build menu, go under Productions. If we scroll down, let's see if we can't find the soup factory in here, right there. And then you can just place it down. It's 405,000 to place down. So there you go, just like that. Now, if you sell it before exiting out of the menu, you can get the full price back. Otherwise, you are going to get a reduced price. But we're just going to sell it back because we don't need it. And I'm going to paint over this because it bothers me. So there's that. But that's how you place and buy the soup factory. Now, next thing we talk about is the production input. So there are 4 production inputs for the soup factory. You can input potatoes, red beets, parsnips, and carrots. Now, if you want to know how to grow potatoes, I'll put a card up on your screen right now that'll take you to my video on how to grow potatoes. Now, if you want to grow vegetables, I'll put a card on my screen right now so you guys can check out that. But basically what you're going to do is take any sort of input. So I have carrots here. This little grate right here, you're just going to drive over top of it, and then you're going to hit I to unload. And you're just going to dump your carrots in there or whatever you're going to put in there. And it's pretty straightforward. That's the input right there. I'm just going to go ahead and I have parsnips, red beets, and potatoes over here as well. I'm going to put all those in, and then I'll bring you guys back in here in a second after I get all the inputs in. All right, all set. I got all those in there. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about how to use the production itself. Sorry. There are 3 ways to access the production menu. First off, you can go to the soup factory on the map and then come up to the wrench icon, hit R, it'll open the production menu. The other way is to hit escape to open up your menu, which it's already in the production menu here, but normally you open to the map, go down here to productions, and then make sure you are not on available productions, but on owned productions, and then you can find the soup factory in there. The last way, which is probably the easiest way, is to go on the map itself, find the production, which is right here, and then hit manage from there, and it'll take you directly into the production menu right here, which is awesome. Now from there, we want to click over here just to this so we can take a look at this here real quick. Here are 5 products we can make. We can make carrot soup, parsnip soup, potato soup, red beet soup, and triple soup, which is awesome. Now, if we go over here, we'll come back to this in a second as well. If we go over here, one more over here to the right-hand side, we have incoming materials, which again is carrots, parsnips, potatoes, and red beets. And then we see how many liters we have of each of those products in here. So 185,066 liters of carrots out of the 450,000 liter total capacity. You can see that's 450 for all those. And then you have the percent of how full it is over here on the right side. Same thing down here for the outgoing products. We have how many liters in there, which is nothing because we haven't started producing any. And then 110,000 liters is the max. Then we have 0% there. And again, these are our products, which we just already went over. So there you go. Now, last thing you can do over here, if we go back over here and I want to hit activate, I can actually start this, and this will say running instead of, well, one of these that says inactive. So inactive means it's not active, it's not running. If you have it say running, that means everything's running smoothly. Now, if I go over to something like, let's go to the sugar mill doesn't have anything in it. I'm just going to activate this for a second here. So if I have it active and there's no products for it to produce, it'll have this little red exclamation point over here, and then it'll say materials missing. So just be aware of that. You want to make sure that that is not the case. So obviously you're producing things, which is great. And you can see we already have 1 liter of carrot soup, which is great. I'm going to deactivate it for now, however. Now, if we go down here, we've got a couple other things. I already obviously explained the status there. Then we have cycles per month and the recipe. Those kind of go hand in hand. So this recipe here is 300 liters of carrots to 75 liters of carrot soup. So it's going to take 300 liters of carrots and you're going to make 75 liters of carrot soup. That's how it is. Parsnips, 300 to 75 as well. Same with potatoes, same with red beets. And then triple soup is 100 of carrots, parsnips, and red beets to make 75 liters of triple soup, which is great. So the other thing to note here, the cycles per month is how many times this recipe is going to happen per month. So for carrot soup, for example, this recipe is going to happen 144 times per month. I think they're all pretty close to that. I think triple soup's a little slower. Yep, 120 cycles of this instead of the 144. And then that's going to be divided by however many months are in your, or however many days are in your month. So for example, if you're running 1 day months, then this is going to happen 144 times a day. If you're running 2 day months, this is going to happen 144 times every 2 days, and so on and so forth. So it's by the month. And then cost per month, same thing. It's just that's the cost for having this thing activated and running per month, which is easy peasy there. So there you go. That's how this all works in here. Let's talk about the output mode. So right now they're all in storing mode, which storing means that as they produce, they're going to go in here. This bar is going to fill up. As soon as there's enough to produce a pallet, it's going to spawn a pallet, and it's going to keep doing that until there's no more space for pallets, and then it'll start filling up the storage in here. Now, if you set it over, if I change output mode to selling, it's going to automatically sell every hour the carrot soup you produce. But just be aware, depending on your difficulty mode, it's going to take 20 to 40% of a hit on that, so you're not going to make the full price. So I don't actually recommend doing that if you can avoid it. Lastly, if I change that over to distributing, what that means is it's going to hold on to everything, not spawn any pallets or anything like that, and it's going to send the soup to another production facility that requires it. However, there are no base game productions that require any of these, so they will just sit in there, which is fine. You can have them sit in there if you'd like to. So basically what I would use that for is if you have, you know, carrot soup and parsnip soup running, you could have one set to storing, so only pallets of parsnip soup are, you know, spawning, and then you could spawn the carrot soup manually by changing it to storing later if you wanted to spawn some. But that's another thing you can do there. So yeah, and then in terms of the products, we'll talk about that next, but that's how you actually run this production facility. What I am going to do is actually go back in here, and I'm going to go through and activate all these, so we are actually producing all of these, and then we're going to take a look at what some of the finished products look like here in a second. All right, so we have some pallets of soup now. Now, if you're wondering where the pallets are going to spawn, here's the front of the building. They're going to spawn over here in this little checkered box area, kind of on the side of the building. Now, you can see here, there's 2,000 liters in each pallet. We have a pallet of carrot soup, 2,000 liters in this pallet of red beet soup, 2,000 liters in this pallet of parsnip soup, 2,000 liters in this pallet of potato soup, and finally 2,000 liters in this pallet of triple soup. So there you go, and you can see some nice soup stuff going on those. So there you go. But yeah, those are the products right there, and obviously you can't lift them up unless you have like super strength or something like that. Now the next part of this video I'm going to talk about, well actually, first off, let's talk about what to actually do with these. You can sell these. I'll put a card up on your screen right now that's going to take you to a video that gives you a little bit more detail on how to sell pallets off. But basically, you want to transport these pallets to a place that's going to buy them. So if I come in here and I go down here, I can look for, well, it's, you know, any type of soup will be fine. Not the noodle soup, of course. It's a different factory. There we go, red beet soup. You just have to take them to one of these places that's going to buy them from you, and then you can sell them off there for that price. You may want to wait for a better price. You can see the prices fluctuate throughout the year, so you can wait for there to be the best price to sell them, so you can wait for that month. And obviously the pallets won't go bad or anything like that. Now the next part of this video is going to be about moving pallets. It is a pre-recorded segment that I have put in a lot of my videos, so if you've already seen that or you know how to move pallets, you don't need to watch that, but it's going to show you kind of the basics to moving pallets around. So I'm going to go ahead and play that right now. To be able to move pallets around in-game, you have to be able to use a pallet fork of some kind on one of these various pieces of equipment, which I'll show you how to do that. Obviously, you can enable super strength if there's a mod out there for that, or if you're on PC and you enable the console commands, then you should be able to activate that. That won't work for console, though. If you do want to learn how to do that on PC, I do have a link to a video down below in the description that will help you enable console commands for your PC game. That way you can just enable super strength. But if you are without super strength or on console, let's talk about the different ways to do this. So, first off, we have a tractor with a front loader attachment. We have a front loader. We have a telehandler, a wheel loader, a skid steer, and a forklift. Now, if you're lifting like very large items or like a lot of forestry stuff, like some of the forestry pallets, like in terms of like wood beams and stuff like that, you may want you may want a wheel loader to do it. Otherwise, a wheel loader might be a little overkill for you, but you can find all these in the store. So I'll show you this. You can also check on your farm if, let's say, well, for example here, one of the starting tractors is this guy on a lot of the maps. So if you go into here, this guy does have the ability to add a front loader attachment. If you see this in the store, you can hit yes, it'll put it in there. Then you want to confirm your customizations down below if you're customizing it at the shop. Otherwise, you can just go in and you can check any one, and you'll see if they have a front loader attachment or not. This one should. There you go, front loader attachment. Make sure you say yes to that. You can either do quickie, however, or no for those as well. Now, whatever design you decide to go with there, go back out of here, go down to front loaders here, and then pick the correct one. And then you'll see down here there's a horsepower requirement. Whatever horsepower your tractor is, try to get the one closest to your horsepower. You don't want to have this massive one here if it's not going to work for your tractor. You also can go in here, and if I hit... oh, it's not going to be on there. Darn it. Sometimes they'll show up with customizations below to be able to add a front loader. This one actually will do it here because this one has a specific one. But sometimes you'll see that and you can just do that. So if that's available, that's the easiest way to find out what one is designed to go with that. Now, if you're going to buy a front loader, telehandler, wheel loader, or skid steer loader, there's a specific process for that. First, go in here. You can either go in here to look at the dedicated front loaders, dedicated skid steers, dedicated wheel loaders, and then, or excuse me, dedicated telehandlers, dedicated skid steers are down here. And then you need to go to their appropriate category. So for a front loader, you need to go to front loader tools, telehandler, telehandler tools, wheel loader to wheel loader tools, skid steer to skid steer tools. Then go in that respective category, find the pallet fork and purchase that. And then you can hook it up to the front of your vehicle. So let's say I bought this guy right here and I bought all these different parts separately. Let me just show you how to disconnect them real quick. So if I hit Q, that'll disconnect that. And then I can also disconnect this. So if you didn't want to, if you want to use it as a regular tractor, you can also disconnect it. But to connect it, just do it in reverse, line it up, get here, and then you'll see a command down at the bottom to connect, and then just drive up here, and then you can connect here. Now, how to operate these up in the upper left-hand corner, usually it's mouse controls if you're on PC. It'll be different controls for you if you are on console. But you can see the advanced controls up there in the upper left-hand corner. If I hold down right mouse button, it shows me what those controls are. Left mouse button shows me what those controls are. So that'll be how you can do your controls. Now, finally, if you wanted to buy a forklift, forklifts are also very easy to buy. They're a dedicated unit for this. So if you go in here, just go under forklifts and choose whichever one you would like to buy there. So there you go. That's how you move pallets around on all platforms. All right, and that is how you move pallets. Now we're going to move on to profitability. Linked down below in the description for you guys, I have this productions profitability table, which has pretty much every production on it, including the greenhouses. And I'm slowly adding more, I should say. They're not all on here yet, but I'm adding them as I do my my guides and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. But obviously, soup factory is what we're going to talk about. So we have soup factory here. We have parsnip soup, red beet soup, carrot soup, potato soup, and triple soup. And then we have the ingredients. So obviously for parsnip soup, it's parsnips. Then we have red beets for red beet soup, carrot soup, and potato soup. And then obviously all three of these for this. Then we have how many cycles per month here. The input amount, so the input amount needed for each one. And then over here, it has the total inputs for each of those to keep this running every month. So you can see a lot of those, and obviously 12,000 liters each of those, which is great. And then here we have the input cost. So this is the cost of these. If you were to, instead of put this into this factory, you would sell them separately. That was how much you would get if you'd sold these items separately. That is what their value is. And then obviously we have the output, and then we have the value of the output, and then we have the profit per cycle, which you can see the triple soup is the most profitable per cycle comparatively. So there's that. And then you have the profit per month, which you actually get a little bit less profit per month for the triple soup, but that's only because it produces only 9,000 liters instead of 10,800 liters a month. So that's why you're making a little bit overall less, but you're making more profit per cycle. So this is actually a better use of your resources, if that makes sense. Now, the next thing we need to talk about, well, first off, if I go over down here to the next sheet, this is the used value. So if you change any of these, if you download a copy of this and make a copy of this for yourself, if you change any of these values, it will reflect that in here. So these are just averages from normal economy mode. So if you find that you get different prices for things, you can enter new prices in here and it will automatically adjust everything in here. Everything in here is tied over to that. So it all works together. And then over here, I have this listed, soup factory listed as a divided production. So what does divided mean? Well, this is kind of important to talk about here. So let's go back to the game and talk about what a divided production is. So if we have the soup factory here, obviously there are 5 different recipes going on. Now, carrots, for example, say that they're going to do 144 cycles of this recipe per month. Okay, that's great. If I have that, well, actually, they're all active right now. I'm going to deactivate all of them. So if I activate that, we're assuming 144 times this is going to happen every month. That's great. Now, in a divided factory, the moment you activate something else, let's say I have parsnip soup now, instead of 144 cycles per month, and I wish it would show that in the game. It doesn't, but I wish it would show that in the game. Now, because I have 2 of these activated, it's now splitting that production in half. So what that means is, instead of 144 cycles per month, it's going to do 144 cycles every 2 months because it's divided in 2. Now, if I activate a third one, now these cycles per month are divided by 3, and then a fourth one now divided by 4, and a fifth one now divided by 5. So that's what that means by divided. So just because you are running all 5 of these, don't expect to get all of these working at full capacity at all times. You can only have one at full capacity at a time. Otherwise, they're just going to be divided out. So just be aware of that. If you wanted to have all of them running at full capacity, then you probably need to have 5 different soup factories if that's what you wanted to do. But that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button up on the screen to join the Farmer Cop channel, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future videos I may post. This has been Farmer Cop. Thank you guys for coming and watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.